Well, hello again everyone. We've got a bit of a problem with our motorhome toilet. The flush handle has snapped off. You can see this does lift up. You can swing it around a little bit. You can see top of this shaft has snapped off that engages in the handle here. Now I have ordered the correct replacement part, but it's not going to come in time for our next trip, so I need to rig up some sort of temporary arrangement to be able to turn that shaft to open the flap in the toilet. So what I've done is I've found myself a bolt that I think is about the right size to go down inside that shaft, and I've cut it to what I think is roughly the right length and smooth the top off with a file. And then what I've done is I've found an old compressed air fitting, taken the handle off the valve, and I've drilled out that handle to take the cut off bit of the bolt, and then fixed the handle onto the bolt end just with a couple of nuts to hold it nice and tight, because when I replace the shaft I need to drop the shaft out of the bottom, and I think I'm going to have to glue somehow that bolt into the shaft. So I didn't want to put anything. I could have just bent a bit of studding, but if I'd have done that I then have to cut it again to get it to drop out through the hole. So I wanted something that I could just undo and drop out through the hole. So yeah, let's see how that's going to work. You can see that the remains of that plastic bit are preventing the bolt going in, and of course this is broken up already really, so I'm just going to snip some more off here. Oops. Try and not lose the bits down the hole, because nobody knows quite what that would interfere with. That's actually pretty good fit now. Let's go with that. Now I'm going to use some of this JB plastic weld. So obviously that's good for the plastic side, and it does say also that it will bond metal, so we should be good. Right, now the first thing I'm going to do to give myself the best chance of that getting a good bond, just to wind some coarse paper. Making much of a job of this, aren't I? Wind some coarse paper around a screwdriver, just so I can sand or just roughen up inside this shaft where the resin is going to go. Oh, come on. So that, I think, will probably do it. Then need to mix ourselves up some of this. Got this bit of giant heat shrink to work on. I mix myself up a good load because yeah, I want this to hold. Why can't I get the lid back on? That's why. I'm going to give this a good mix. Got about 5 minutes to work with this before it sets, so you can't muck around too much, but you have got to get a good mix on it. Right, I'm going to smear a good load inside here. Don't want to get any on these wires or anything. So that's all stuff that I need to preserve. We don't want to be getting into the wiring side of things. Right, there's a good amount there, so I'll pop that on there now. Get my new handle and make sure plaster a good amount down there, because it sort of widens out inside that shaft, so I want a good sort of dob of stuff. But now it's a bit like operation, because I don't want to touch anything else as I put this in. I'll wind this in. I want it about there, but what I don't want is for it to sag. So prop it up with a screwdriver, just put a bit of tension on it. Yeah. And now we leave that for an hour or so. Right, well that's been an hour or so. Let's have a look, see how we've got on. Now, as always, I like to keep the glue that I mixed up, the leftover stuff, just to determine if it really has set, and that has set pretty nicely. So I'm going to take the screwdriver out. Oops. Get rid of this, and then we can test the mechanism. Yeah, that's really not. No, that is not working, is it? In fact, I think, yeah, I can just pull it out. Oh dear. Well folks, that is infuriating. I've tried to turn the mechanism with the pliers and it was a little bit stiff, so I put a little bit of plus gas on it and it seems a little bit freer now. I've taken the cassette out and tried the handle on the cassette, the little unlocking thing, and that seems really free, so I don't think the problem's there. See, if I use the pliers on there, I'm going to try putting that handle back in with some metal epoxy putty. Well, there we go. I've tried again, as you can see, with the welding putty, and again, that should be set within about an hour, so let's leave that well alone for a bit. You can see this time I've not bothered to try and do it through the hole. I could unbolt it and drop that plate back on the top of it again, easy enough. Now I'm really hoping this works, because our trip that we've got planned is to a site with no toilet facilities, and I really don't want to cancel it, but I think I might have to if I can't get this toilet working. Right, that's been an hour. It's 10 past 10 at night now. Yeah, hopefully this has worked. Oh yeah, that's better. Right, now I've just got to sort the cover out. Well, there we go. I think that should be a good enough temporary fix to get us through our next holiday before the proper replacement part turns up. So yeah, fingers crossed you'll see us away again very soon in our next video.